Welcome in to episode 147 of the Walkons podcast. It's almost 150 episodes, boys. We're getting close. And we're trying to line up a primo guest for number 150. I'm not going to tease that at all any more than that because most likely we don't get him in the amount of time that we'd like to get him for that episode. So, right, but he would be a very good guest. We will get him at some point. It is Wednesday, 9/23, September 23rd. 2 days before my birthday. I'm almost 26. I am just slightly older than Drake and Kevin. So I'm really the elder of the podcast, even though I don't think I have that tag in our Clash of Clans clan anymore. Kevin stripped me away from it at some point, I believe. We're gonna do a question and answer tonight. We're gonna answer your questions. We tweeted out some general, hey, give us some questions. Usually these are for the subscriber only, Patreon exclusive, bi-monthly episode, but not this month. We're gonna go a different route for the subscriber only. A little bit of a top 10 episode that we're gonna tease on the Patreon. So questions tonight. First of all, Kevin, Drake, welcome to the podcast. How are we doing this fine evening?
Just dandy, my friends. Just dandy.
So it's another day in paradise, man.
It was a good day. Other than the fact that I went to work out and I think I actually did some kind of short-term damage to my right Achilles tendon. Doesn't feel great right now. And
that's because you do stupid stuff like run 15 miles at a time.
But see, I went on a quick jog, maybe 500 meters to warm up for a workout, and got back and it was like not feeling good. It started to pull on me. So I don't know. Maybe we're just getting old. The birthday is a couple days away. So yeah. Kevin, how's your body hanging in there?
Yeah, I don't do stupid stuff like run 15 miles a day.
It wasn't from 15 miles.
I prefer to do stupid stuff like lifting as much weight as you possibly can.
Okay.
It still kind of hurts, but not as bad, I don't think. I don't know.
I'll tell you this.
I'll tell you what, I do feel better than when I played football, though. Without a doubt.
Well, probably 2 for 3 on that. Drake, I don't know if you feel better or worse, or maybe it's day-to-day for you.
It's a day-to-day struggle.
Okay. We're not going to waste too much time tonight. We're going to get into these questions. We had a decent amount of them. Shot out the feeler and wanted to get questions basically about this season, the shortened season, playing a little later in the year, and what you guys thought about that. The first question came in from Megan O'Keefe. And she asked, will they sell alcohol in the stadium for the last game to cope with how cold it will be? I don't think because there won't be any fans. I mean, other than the families. I mean, imagine that. The families are all just drunk as hell watching the game, like late.
I think we can all get behind that, right?
Laid out on the bleachers, just like chilling.
Which mom or dad do you think gets the most blitzed during the game?
Oh God,
Kev, you might want to find a new room because you've got a hell of an echo.
Yeah, no, sorry, new house, boys. It's pretty echoey in the whole house right now. There's not a whole lot of furniture.
Yeah, he's not going to find a room. He'd have to sit in the bathroom or something. We'll have to deal with it. It does bring up the point, though. It's going to be cold. It's going to be real cold. Now, we played in a couple frigid games. The first one that comes to mind is Nebraska of 15.
Minnesota 13. Or, I mean, Michigan 13.
And Michigan 13. Those are the two games that come to mind. None of us were involved in that Michigan game in 2013. That was the second to last game of the year, I believe, at home. We won that game, and it was, I want to say it was like 22. Wind chill was like in the teens, and when you're a young guy and you don't play, Like the best part of that day was warm-ups, like running around doing warm-ups, and specialists run around for like 12 minutes. So it wasn't long lasting for me. But after
and it
that,
sucks though because because you don't play, you don't get to sit on the warm benches either.
Nope. You're basically like, hey, if you're lucky, you get to scheme one of the coats.
You're supposed to, because you want the guys on the field to have a nice warm coat to come back to. So how do you do that? You have an important job on cold days.
Yeah, you're essentially a seat warmer. Like that's what you're doing.
My favorite part of cold games was going back to the locker room.
Oh God, yeah. I remember in high school we played. It was that Wednesday, first week of the playoffs against. We played Dowling. Our sophomore year would have been. And we went back into the locker room and we were getting beat by 30 or so. And the worst, I mean, maybe the most unmotivated I've ever been to run back onto a football field. And yeah, I mean, it's just.
Even less motivated than at halftime of the Rose Bowl.
Oh, 100%, dude. Like, I mean, yeah, we were getting beat by infinity by C. McCaffrey and the boys. But I mean, at least we were playing in the Rose Bowl in front of 90,000. Or maybe it's worse. I don't know. But you're
getting humiliated in front of 90,000 people and the rest of the country on national television.
Yeah, millions of people. It was great. It's gonna be cold, and those two games are the ones that come to mind. Hitch was he was the hero that day. He stripped Denard Was Denard the quarterback? Yeah, he stripped Denard.
No, Gardner was.
What was his first name?
I don't remember.
Hitch had a huge fumble, forced fumble and recovery late in the game as they were driving, and that was pretty cool. I don't think we were supposed to win that game or picked to win that game, but that was fun. Benjamin Seibel asks, do you think the preseason practices, which I guess are now basically, will be more upbeat this year compared to a normal season because the season was almost taken away? Or is it going to be the normal grind?
I can definitely see that. I mean, one, it's not the normal grind because they're still in classes, so you're not getting the full camp, getting the shit beat out of you twice a day, every day type of grind.
Right.
And I can definitely see where that question comes from. It's like, hey, like we weren't even promised a season. Now we got one. Let's be excited about it versus August of, any other years. It's like, oh God, camp, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see that. Yeah.
And because it's later in the year now, I mean, camp is essentially happening in September where, I mean, for the last.
Listen, man, if you can have female interaction while technically being in camp, there's nothing to complain about.
No females allowed around any Iowa Hawkeye football player.
Not this year.
We talked about that just last episode, I think.
The COVID cronies freaking walking around. But yeah, I mean, camp, there are some days in camp when we were, in Kevin's favorite 23 days of his life, our freshman year. There were some days during that camp where it was definitely in the 90s.
The weather takes a big toll on it.
Huge toll. Whereas, like, for the last week, at least in Waukee, it's been maybe 70 tops. So it's different. And again,
it's a lot easier to get excited about playing football in 70-degree weather versus, you haven't, like Trick says, you haven't seen a female in 2 weeks. It's 95, it's 105 with the heat index. You just are limping out of the complex. You walk into the indoor and the humidity just hits you in the face. You're just like,
yeah. It's almost got like it's got this smell to it.
I can definitely see in camp practices being a little more juiced up for sure.
Yeah,
I know this is going to be dramatic, but walking out to practices sometimes felt like you were just going to the shooting range. Like when you were just going to get the firing squad.
Have you been on that side of the
no, but I've seen videos and just like the trudge, it's just kind of how I felt trudging.
You felt like you were being you felt like you were being walked to the guillotine?
About.
Okay.
You're right, a little dramatic, but okay.
Right. I do think there will be a sense of gratitude I think that's something that's really hard for 18 to 22-year-olds to grasp. I know it was very difficult for me while we were in it. Not just, for this season that you're playing in, but really the opportunity that you have as a Division I athlete, it becomes your day-to-day life. And whatever your day-to-day life is starts to feel monotonous. It doesn't matter if I'm sure you ask a skydiving instructor if a single skydive or whatever is like thrilling, and at some point they're going to be like, well, I do it every day, it's just what it is. Same with being a Division I athlete. It's hard to be grateful for the opportunity. There's every once in a while, for me it was like we'd come up out of the locker room after games and these kids are lined up at the gate to get your autograph, and those were the moments that hit me like, holy shit, like this really is special. There's plenty of other moments too, running out of the tunnel, getting to travel to all these places. But I think this COVID thing is definitely another source of those players finding that gratitude for sure. So that's a good thing. But it'll be the same way for all the teams. Any more thoughts on that?
No, I think that was a good question. We should move on to the next one.
Thanks, Ben. Another Ben. This Ben's last name is Hennessy.
Wow.
It appears to be real. His at is sip of Hennessy. Love that. How many points do the Buckeyes put on Nebraska in the first game? And how many Iowa drives will start with 2 consecutive running plays this first game? They always seem to wait to air it out. Though this team is well equipped to throw on any down.
I'm setting the Nebraska points given up to Ohio State at 49.5.
I was going to say 48. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot is the answer to your question.
So many.
And I'm going to say that Brian Ferentz comes out and runs play action on the first play for 75 yards, just to give a huge fornicate yourself to all of his haters.
For 75. I think the last few years we've seen, as much as people want to hate on Brian and the offense, whatever, I think they're starting to mess around a little bit, and they're starting to throw in a package here, throw in a play here. I teased like, hey, maybe we throw Goodson at Wildcat. How elite would that be? Your playbook opens up when you have capability, right? And I pulled it up, and there's actually another question about the offense as well. But if you're talking about capability, we're looking at potentially as much as Iowa has had in the last 2 or 3 decades. So I would say you're going to see some passes. That's my guess.
A little razzle dazzle out there in Kinnick Stadium. I can see it.
A little trickeration,
I don't know how much trickeration. I mean, he has run some trick plays, but I think I think he understands more than the fans think he understands.
Yes.
That we have some talent on the outside and we need to get the ball.
Yeah. Austin Roberts said, how much would it suck to play in a snowstorm? I actually always wanted
that would not suck at all.
I actually always wanted to, just because of the aesthetic, like kind of the scene that sets.
And typically, if it's snowing, it's not ultra frigid.
Right.
So like you've actually found some like nice temperature or a nice version of cold, and you get the snow. That would be a pretty big fetish.
Give me 28 degrees with a very light wind and a medium snowfall, and I'll sign up for that. I'll go play right now.
I mean, it's not the snow doesn't really make things much worse. You get a little wet, I guess, but and when it gets cold out, it's the wind that hurts more than anything.
Oh, it's the goddamn wind.
I'll play in cold as weather if you want me to. If there's no wind, I don't care.
It's like that. It's like that funny Iowa joke, or like Midwest people, and then in quotations, 13 degrees. Yeah, it wouldn't be too bad out here if it wasn't windy.
But it's the truth, man.
I know. I don't know what this person's name is. Their @ symbol is KK Trace. Breakout player of the season. You guys can think on this because I've got one. All right. I'm going the punter from down under. I believe his name is Tory Taylor. I think and I may have some inside information, but I think he is going to be out there absolutely smoking punts. He's going to be, we're going to have a rocket leg in the now granted, again, Iowa is colder. Those balls don't carry, don't hit. The sweet spots shrinks down when it gets a little colder, but I think this guy's going to hit some punts.
Give me Jack Campbell.
Fuck, you two stole my damn pick.
You can have the same pick. Let me hear about it. What are your thoughts?
I've heard a more athletic Josie Jewell.
Not hard.
And what I've
heard.
heard is that Ike has been talking this kid up since he was a junior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And the same things that Ike was saying back then are the same things that are coming out of the building now. So I'm just excited to see the kid play.
It would seem to be, I compare Josie to, not exactly, their play styles aren't going to mirror each other exactly. But Josie Jewell was our version of the 5 years previous James Morris, small town Iowa kid. Cedar Falls isn't necessarily a small town relative to the United States it is, but you've got James Morris, you've got Josie Jewell, Bo Bauer. You have these linebackers who come in, they aren't the most athletic. You don't look at, although James, you look at James and he was a freaking specimen. Josie wasn't anything, but compared to like Isaiah Simmons at a Clemson or somebody like that, my brother says that Jack Campbell is just an absolute. He says he's 240 and runs like a deer, like a deer. Do you know how deer run, Kevin? Have you ever seen a deer?
I think a deer runs around a 4.240.
Oh yeah. He might break 4.1.
No, I've heard. Very smart kid, very football savvy, and just a freak athlete. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. But if I gotta get another one, I'm gonna go with we're gonna go in the back end here. I like Kayvon Merriweather, number 26, leaving the jersey in a better place. I'm looking for big things out of him. Got the start last year. Probably, a little wasn't as in tune with the playbook as, we needed him to be. Jack came and took his spot, but I like him and Jack back too. So I think, I've heard good things. He's learned the system. He's, a super athletic kid. So I'm looking for big things out of him in the back end.
I love it.
Throw a third defender in there. Julius Brents, looking forward to seeing him play again.
Okay, yeah. Who is going to make the biggest impact on both sides of the ball? I feel like the biggest impact is going to be Tyler Goodson, for me, offensively. And defensively, I'm a big fan of Chauncey Golston, man.
I was going to say Chauncey too.
It's, the tempo, regardless of any kind of play style, it doesn't matter if you spread it 5 wide or you're running the triple option. The line is where everything starts. And if your defensive line can get a good push and blow an offensive lineman or two into the backfield, it disrupts the entire play.
It makes it really easy to play defense in front of a good defensive line.
Exactly. And then it goes to the linebackers. It makes it easier on the linebackers. Then if the linebackers are in their coverage, it makes it easier on the safeties and the corners. I think Chauncey and Tyler Goodson for me.
I mean, especially this year when we're probably going to be tossing the ball a little bit more around, it's always going to be the quarterback. So it's Spencer Petras. In 2020, unless you're Navy or Army or Air Force, you cannot win in this league without a good quarterback. So it's always coming down to the quarterback for me. And he's got the options, he's got the weapons to get it to, so he's got to be the one to.
All he has to do is throw it up, and somebody is going to be there.
Give me Brandon Smith and Jack Campbell. I'm going all in on Jack Campbell, and Brandon Smith is an absolute avatar. So
he literally is, dude. I've never seen. Well, that's not true. We had a couple, but as far as straight up genetics go, like a lean athletic body, Brandon Smith is built, dude.
Dude, do you know how
He looks like
strong that kid is?
he looks like the Under Armour mannequins.
Dude, exactly. More lean than them. What'd you say, Drake? How strong he is?
Yes.
I don't.
His weight room numbers are out of this world.
I'm sure they are. I mean, he's just got the frame of a monster. Okay. Do you think not playing Ohio State and Michigan will affect the Hawkeyes' chances of making the playoffs? Can't wait to listen to George at work tomorrow. Yeah, we uploaded. We got a free little episode from we're already seeing perks from our Blue Wire connection and network. So for any of you who haven't listened to it yet, the bonus episode that we uploaded with George was not us talking to him, but obviously it connects with our audience. Obviously, any George Kittle content is just straight gold. Love listening to that guy talk. And Greg Olson has a podcast on the network that we just joined, talking to tight ends. And the one with George just dropped, so you guys can go listen to that now. As far as our chances making the playoffs, we got a long way to go before that happens. I'm skeptical at all.
All you have to do is win every game.
Yeah, no, right? I mean, we almost did it once.
So close.
I don't, it's gonna depend. Here's the deal. If we want to make the playoffs, and again, this shouldn't be the goal or anything, but if we want to make the playoffs, then if we go out and beat Wisconsin by 2 touchdowns, beat Penn State by 10 points, and go 8-0, and then go and beat Ohio State or whoever in the Big Ten Championship, it'll happen. Like, if you do your
job. It'll happen, and that is also the only way it'll happen. You basically you have to go 9-0. The Big Ten only playing 9 games. If the Big Ten as a conference wants to get someone in, has to have someone go 9-0.
Correct.
So it's a pretty simple formula.
Yeah.
Thinking about the last time that we were almost something and makes me want to sit on a hand grenade.
I mean, yeah, it's the saddest. Other than, it's that moment when we lost to Michigan State was more sad than when our career ended.
By far. My life ended that day.
We did peak. Yeah.
Peaked. Tavon caught that ball, dabbed in the end zone, and we've been rolling downhill ever since.
I'm trying to think right now if I've ever been a happier human being at that point in my entire life.
No way.
The answer is no. You won't come up with anything.
Like, I don't know. Like,
no,
I don't think so.
No. So there you go. All right. That was asked by Sabra Hess. Bill Cooler asks, hearing people talk about how Iowa should rent the Unidome for those December games. What are your guys' feelings on this?
Rent the shit out of it. That's a phenomenal idea.
I say fans or no fans, there is still a piece of home field advantage. And cold or not, playing at Kinnick is still the way to go.
Dude, December in Iowa is so unpredictable. Like, it could be so horrible.
It could be horrible, but it could be okay. And I agree with Bill here. I like Kinnick, man. Like, I don't know. Both teams are going to suffer the same effect or non-effect of the environment you're playing in. It's not like we choose to play in the Unidome and all of a sudden, like, we're the only team that gets the benefit from it. So
yeah, honestly, back when we were playing, I would have said, like, bring on the cold, but now I'm a huge pussy. So I'm like, get me into the dome.
As a snapper, I would be if KF announced in a team meeting, like, all right, we're gonna be playing. Okay, guys, all right, we got a couple things here. Okay, first off, for the month of December, okay, you're playing 2-3 games. I don't know how many guys have played in December. All right, not very many. We're gonna be going up to Cedar Falls. Okay, they got a pretty nice dome, the Unidome. Some of you guys have played in it. All right. Ike Butker used to dominate that thing. Okay, and we're gonna use that for our home games just to kind of, tackle the weather issue. All right. I would have been sitting in my seat, and I would have been looking over at Keith and Miguel like, yes, baby, come on, yes, I'm gonna be able to feel my fingers when I snap the ball back. But for most guys, it's not, maybe other than Spencer, it's not as big of a deal.
The Iowa Hawkeyes play their home games in Kinnick Stadium. Any other thing is heresy. Get out of here.
Yeah, Kevin is just a purist. He in the truest form. Pete Van Elswick asks, will the Hawks kneel? Will they still wave? Are fans going to show up to tailgate? Have we interviewed strength coaches? Jerry Palmer. By the way, dude, Big Jerry, because of all this shit, he got let go.
No.
Yeah. Maybe the saddest thing so far.
Jerry's a nice dude.
And then he said, and what if Petras contracts the virus? They'll probably just lie and say he didn't. That's probably the best route of the course of action there. We need Petras at the helm.
This guy just asked a lot of questions.
He did. He really got it in. Will the Hawks kneel? I'm going to say on that, with everything that's happened just in society and over the summer with Iowa, and now the NFL kind of leading the way and showing, what they're doing. KF always said that we're either going to do it as a team or we're not. I think there's a chance that it'll be up to the player, and there will be a general understanding that, if you kneel to support Black Lives Matter or, racial violence, that's great. If you don't, you're not supporting it. It's just you're choosing to go about that event in your own way. I don't know. Will they still wave?
I like what KF said. Like, I'd like them to do whatever they decide to do as a team.
Yeah, I think they will still wave.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't wave still.
Yeah, there's no even in an empty stadium, I don't see why they wouldn't wave.
I think the kids would still enjoy seeing the team wave at them. So
I also think that fans are going to show up and tailgate. Obviously not to the extent that game day happens, but I guarantee fans will tailgate to some extent.
Kev Daddy says that he's there.
Yeah. Kevin, regardless, is going to find a parking lot to drink Busch Light in.
Hey, man, the trailer gets to get used 3 months out of the year. Okay,
so, yeah.
We're just going to use that fucking thing.
Absolutely. And have we interviewed strength coaches? We have not interviewed strength coaches. We would love to. There's probably a time and place for that. We will get around to it eventually. Thank you, Pete. Dan Brickner asks, what are your thoughts on how the preparation will look different than normal to the – okay, well, he needs to work on a little punctuation. Sorry, Dan. How is the prep going to look? We know all the teams are in the same boat, but Iowa seems to steadily improve through the season and seems to maximize their preseason work. Your thoughts? I think you said it right there, Dan. All the teams are in the same boat. And I kind of mentioned this last podcast, or maybe I didn't, but I think it's whoever handled the offseason, the uncertainty of this offseason, being sent home, coming back to campus, the uncertainty, who was doing the best in the weight room and staying focused. I think whoever handled all that is going to actually be the most prepared.
Again, probably the more veteran teams will probably
for sure
benefit from that as well. And to your other point, yes, like one of KF's big things is we have to continue to get better throughout the year. So like practices, we still do individual, we still do drills. Like we are still focused on working the fundamentals throughout the year, because
slide edge, baby.
If you don't improve from September to November, what are you doing? The other teams are still practicing and trying to get better. So yes, we do emphasize it. And again, we're obviously going to have to do it better than our opponents this year, because of the off season being such a wacky off season.
Absolutely. We'll do a couple more here. What are your expectations for Spencer? And I think that's a good question. What are expectations for I never really followed it too closely. I know from the inside, we saw what Nate could do as a freshman, and we thought, God damn, expectations were high for Nate, especially when he came in and threw that pass on his first play when CJ had to come out. But realistically, what are the expectations for Spencer? I don't know.
A good run game helps your quarterback. So if we can really be a run dominant team with two really good backs and a strong offensive line, Spencer's job gets a whole lot easier.
Here's my expectation for him, and it kind of pairs with what Drake said. He's going to have all the weapons around him. He is, the least experienced starter on the offense, I believe. Yeah. And that's good and bad. So I don't think we should rely on Spencer to win us football games. Sometimes you got a veteran quarterback. He's the guy. You think of Manziel or Baker Mayfield when they were in their, heyday in college. You're expecting that guy to win you the game, make plays, be the guy who figures out a way. I think Spencer needs to let everybody else make the plays and win the ball games. And he just has to satisfy and do his job to the best of his ability. Give his teammates a chance every single time. Give his teammates a chance. Obviously, being the quarterback, there's a lot that goes into making checks at the line, getting you into a different play, all that. I don't, maybe Drake can talk into this more, but, you can't expect him to be as good as someone who has experience at that. So just give the other guys a chance, and I think we'll be just fine.
Drake, do you want to go or?
Well, things happen fast when you first start to play. And, both fortunately and unfortunately for our quarterbacks, they have a whole lot on their plates. And I think probably more than most teams do because we run a pro-style offense where they're responsible for getting us into the right play call depending on the box and the shell and whether they need to check the ball at the line or not. So they're worried about all those things. They're worried about play clock. I mean, it's just a tough offense to be a quarterback in. And Nate obviously struggled a little bit when he was young in the first few games because the game was just coming at him fast and you can't slow it down. But I don't know. Spencer's been there a couple of years, and I'm confident in the kid. So looking forward to watching him play. But it is tough when you first get out there and the bullets are flying for the first time for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like what you guys both said. He is a first-year starter, but he has had the benefit of being in the program for a couple of years. Nate, kind of was there for a year before he was handed the keys of the kingdom. So my expectations for him are kind of like what you said, Kluve, is just run the offense. Get us in the right plays, get us in the right checks, and move the offense efficiently. But, he's not going to be Johnny Manziel making plays left and right, dodging three dudes from Alabama and tossing it 50 yards for tutties. But
and if he is, then I'm going to just be rock solid.
Hard as a diamond.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking for him to be a game manager to start before he starts making plays. So, getting the guys ready, getting them in the right plays, get the right checks, and then holding onto the ball, not turning.
Spencer's from California, right?
He is.
Yes.
Dude, what if he's just the next Matt Barkley? He's just a California kid.
Well, he broke all of Jared Goff's records at their high school. They went to the same high school.
Yeah, Jared Goff got paid.
And he's okay. The Rams are 2-0. Go Rams. So that's my expectation of Spencer. He's got dudes. Put the ball up there, let them make the play. Do your best. Interesting stat here before we move on because it is the second episode of the week, and we're going to go into some awards winners, which is kind of morphed into kind of all of us giving our picks now that we're all going into our later 20s, and what do guys in their late 20s do? They lose all their money sports gambling. That's what you do.
I don't know about lose it, dude. I'm crushing.
Or you risk all your money sports gambling, whether you win or lose. That's dependent upon if you're smart or not.
It's the only way to make yourself feel alive anymore.
Right.
No, you got it's just fun as hell.
You got to feel something. But before we move on, I want to ask you guys a little trivia question that I found while I was researching. One of the other questions that I did not ask because we talked a lot about the offense, but and it kind of came out in other answers, is this team the most offensive firepower we've had since 2002 or 2003, which I actually think that 2009 was probably a little bit more offensive firepower. Now, you could quantify that in a whole different types of ways. One of those quantifying numbers would be total offense. What's the total offense? How many yards do you guys put out a game? our tenure at the University of Iowa, which year did we average the most yards on offense? You're muted, Kev. Or I can't hear you.
Sorry. I want to guess 2015, but the fact that you're asking this question makes me think it's not 2015.
I'm trying to think too.
I think you might be playing reverse psychology on me, but
we're not going that deep.
Give me 2016 then.
Give me 2017.
Your answer is the 2014 Hawkeyes, who went to the Tax Slayer Bowl. Do you have a guess at how many yards we averaged on offense that year?
Okay. I'm guessing just because we ran the shit out of Indiana that year. I mean, I don't know. 387.
Really close. We, in 2015, averaged 386. In 2014, we averaged 400.1 yards per game.
The Fighting Rudox had the best offense of our
Fighting
career.
Rudock threw for 2,400 yards. Weissman ran for 850. Kanzeri for 617. Rudock ran for almost 200. Wadley got 200. CJ got 150 when he got in there. D-Bull, RIP, ran for 350. Tavon caught 600, and we had talent on that team. We just had, I don't know what we didn't have. What we did have is a big ol' L to the Tennessee Volunteers in the Tax Slayer Bowl, and
what we did have was the worst bowl prep in the history of college football.
Trash, just absolute trash. For comparison, I said 386 total yards in 2015, the good year, 400 in 2014. Compared to the 2010 year for the Iowa Hawkeyes when they went 8-5, they averaged 382, which was the most with that group. Stanzi, we had Stanzi, McNutt, DJK, Jewell Hampton, Marcus Coker, Adam Robinson, all those guys. So who knows? Can we get up into those 400s? What if we're just averaging like a quick 425 each game? That'd be sick.
I'd like to see 40 minutes of time possession more than
I would love time. I don't care if we average 250 yards a game. If we average 38, 40 minutes time possession, yeah.
Makes playing defense real easy.
Real easy. Those guys are fresh, man. Fresh. And this offensive linemen are going to be in marathon shape. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting little stat. Let's move on to the Ward's winners. And dude, I'm going to get us a new little toy that is an actual like physical button that I can hit. And we're going to find a really cool sound bite for the Ward's winner segment. It's going to be like, ba, ba, ba. And then you're going to come in and give us your picks. So Kevin, NFL or college, doesn't matter. I know Drake has some NFL picks as well. What games do you like for week 3 of football?
All right, folks. Well, it's my favorite segment of the week.
Of course. It's named after you, so I hope.
We got SEC coming back this week. SEC is in play. Guess what? Stay away from them. First game of the year.
Well,
we have no idea what's coming back. Stay away from the SEC.
Yeah.
We're going to the Big 12, baby.
Okay.
Is Texas back?
Probably
Who knows?
not.
But they're back this week because I like them minus 15 versus Texas Tech.
Ooh. You taking the Fighting Sam Ellingers?
Moving over to the ACC. Is it 2002? I don't know. But go Canes minus 10.5 versus the Florida State Seminoles. And to finish out the week, we are going with the Tennessee Titans minus 3 versus the Minnesota Vikings. That's awards winners of the week.
And that's going to take us right into Drake's picks, which we're going to probably flip over to the NFL.
Just going to go ahead and start right there with the Tennessee pick because I had the exact same one.
We're 3 for
I actually have them minus 2.5.
Ooh, if you can get the 2.5, hammer that, baby.
Yeah. Kluver and I talked about this one. I actually like Vegas plus 6.5 against New England. Vegas is playing pretty good, and 6.5 points is a lot to get in the NFL. So I'm going to take those points.
And I'll add to that on that one. I think New England is still going to find ways to win ball games. They're a great organization, obviously. They don't have Tom anymore. They don't have Gronk, whatever. But the core, the culture there is a winning culture. But I don't think they're going to be a team that outraces people like the Chiefs do. And they score 45, 50 points a game. And the lower amount of points that you score, the over-under on that game is 47.5. So you're looking at, if we're right on the line, you're looking at 27, 21. When you don't score a lot of points, it's harder to open up that spread a little bit. I also really like how Vegas played Monday night.
You know what I'm going to do there is I'm going to tease it 0.5 point. So I'm going to get them at +7 so that you can push on a 1 touchdown win.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good play there.
But I also like Vegas after what they showed. Darren Waller, who is on my fantasy team,
Lucky you.
Yeah, well, I didn't. The other guys decided to shit the bed, but he really tried to win it for me this past week with like 27 fantasy points or something stupid like that. He's a good tight end.
The other thing that I will tell everybody listening to this that likes to sports bet or likes to take our advice, fade the entire state of New York. Buffalo sometimes might be a good team to bet. I just don't know how much I trust their offense. But as far as the Jets and Giants go, if you can bet against them because they're going to lose.
Yeah, if the line is -300 against the Jets, take whoever's playing them. Put Iowa State against the Jets, and I'll take Iowa State -300, and it'll probably cover somehow, some way. Drake, I know
I'm going to take the Cardinals -5.5 against Detroit. The Cardinals are the real deal. I like their offense and defense. Kyler is probably unstoppable, and Detroit's defense is missing quite a few starters. Not that good. Their offense not that good. Arizona -5.5. I think is a steal there.
Yeah.
And then my last one, I'm going to take Green Bay and the points with 3 against New Orleans. Green Bay's offense is playing well. New Orleans offense hasn't looked amazing, and I think that they can cover 3.
All right, I like it.
Green Bay also hasn't really played anyone to New Orleans caliber, though, so that'd be something interesting to see.
Yeah.
Is that in the Dome or is that up in Green Bay?
It's in the Dome, which is interesting. I agree. We're 3 for 3 on the Titans beating Minnesota. Minnesota looked like absolute dog shit versus the Colts last week.
They didn't look great against the Packers.
And they look bad.
They have horrible corners, and they didn't look like they could stop the run very well. I don't see how this is a 3.5.
That could be the more
2.5 point line.
Yeah, that could be the mortal lock of the week. Like that's the whale. And I also, like I said, I like Vegas versus New England. My other pick, it might be a sleeper, might not. Chicago has been playing okay.
It's just not been playing bad.
He hasn't been playing bad, but I think that Atlanta -3 is going to cover this week. It's in Atlanta. I like Matty Ice and the boys against James Daniels and Mitch Trubisky up there. I like him. Yeah. Mitch Trubisky. I like Atlanta. Ridley has been going off. Julio Jones and Gurley have been non-existent, and they've still looked all right. I'll take Atlanta versus Chicago, and those are my 3 picks.
You should start like a scoreboard, see whose picks end up being the best.
Okay, we will. We all need to bet the same amount of games, though. I guess not necessarily, but we'll just take our best 3 each week.
I mean, you could just do a winning percentage too.
You could do
as many picks as you want out there.
That's true. Yeah. I also, the way I like to bet is I like to throw like a real small dollar amount on just money lines, like favorites on the money line, and just throw like 8 or 10 teams down. And
last week the money line
parlay. And this, if we're going to compete against each other, we got to pick against the number.
Yeah, we'll have to go against the spread, but so we'll write those down and see how we're doing this week. a couple of them are obviously going to be the same game, but
I'll tell you what, if I pick Big Ten like I did at last year's clip, y'all ain't got no chance.
Yeah, dude, we might be screwed.
The thing is, I don't even care about the Big Ten. I'm all on NFL.
Dude, NFL is hard to pick.
Yeah,
it's fun though.
It's fun. It's hard though.
I think it's more fun, but the college is easier, and maybe it's because we know college a little bit more. But
I mean, I've just spent the last 15 years of my life watching Big Ten football religiously.
Right.
So, I mean,
yeah. But that's it. Those are awards winners for the week, plus some extras in there given by myself and Drake. This is episode 147 of the Washed Up Walkons podcast, and we'll be back Monday to talk at you again. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Sit back, relax, watch some football.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Okay. I don't know where that – what? Drake's back, baby. Drake's back.
Burgundy.
See you guys. Peace.